Wyndham Clark just won one of the biggest tournaments of the season. But instead of everyone talking about his victory, golf fans are talking about something much more controversial. Because while Clark appeared to repeatedly ground his club behind his ball in the rough without receiving a penalty, another tournament contender was hit with a basal's two-shot penalty for moving a divot. And fans are asking one explosive question. Are golf's rules being applied consistently, or does it depend on the situation? Stay with me, because what happened next turned this from a simple rules question into a major debate across golf. Wyndham Clark came into the BMW Championship with plenty to prove. And by the end of the tournament, he had done exactly that. Clark produced a spectacular performance at Bellerive, finishing 17 under par and taking the title. But while his victory should have been the main story, another moment began circulating among golf fans. Footage showed Clark in the rough, repeatedly placing or grounding his club behind the ball. And immediately, some viewers started asking, was Clark improving his lie? Under the rules of golf, a player is allowed to ground their club behind the ball in many situations. But there's an important restriction. A player cannot use their club to deliberately improve the conditions affecting the stroke. That includes things such as improving the lie of the ball or altering the area around it. And that's where the debate surrounding Clark began. Because to the casual viewer, repeatedly pressing a club into grass behind a ball can look suspicious. Some fans saw the footage and believed Clark was getting an advantage. Others argued that there was no evidence he deliberately improved his lie, and that simply grounding the club doesn't automatically mean a player has broken the rules. And crucially, Clark was not penalized. But then another incident made the situation much more controversial. At the DP World Tour's Nexo Championship, Shaun Norris found himself in a completely different situation. Norris had a poorly replaced divot underneath his feet. Instead of leaving it alone, he kicked the divot aside. That seemingly tiny action resulted in officials determining that he had altered the conditions affecting his stance. The result? A two-stroke penalty. And that's where golf fans started comparing the two incidents. One player appears to alter the area around his ball and receives no penalty. Another player moves a divot and loses two shots. And suddenly, what might have been two unrelated rules incidents became one huge debate. So is this proof that golf's rules are inconsistent? Not necessarily. The situations are different, and the officials have to determine exactly what happened and whether a player gained an advantage. That's extremely important, because a player simply putting a club behind the ball isn't automatically a rules violation. Officials have to determine whether the player actually improved the conditions affecting the stroke. And that's why Clark wasn't automatically penalized simply because the footage looked suspicious to some viewers. But here's the problem for the PGA Tour and professional golf. Perception matters. When fans see two incidents that appear similar, or at least comparable, and one player receives a two-shot penalty while another doesn't, they're naturally going to ask questions. And this controversy is even more interesting because Wyndham Clark has been in the middle of a similar debate before. During the 2024 Arnold Palmer Invitational, Clark was involved in another rules controversy involving his ball and the club in the rough. There was speculation that he had caused his ball to move, but officials determined that the ball had only oscillated and returned to its original position. No penalty was issued. Clark has also pushed back against suggestions that he was deliberately trying to break the rules. So this isn't simply about one isolated clip. It's another chapter in the ongoing debate surrounding how Clark interacts with his ball in difficult lies. And that's why this story is perfect for golf's online world. Because you've got one side saying, Clark did nothing wrong, the rules allow it. And another side saying, if another player can lose two shots for moving a divot, why is this okay? And somewhere in the middle are fans simply asking for one thing: consistency. They don't necessarily want Clark punished. They want to know that the same standards apply to everyone. And here's the part people need to remember. A viral video isn't automatically proof of a rules violation. Golf's rules can be incredibly technical. What looks like an obvious penalty from one camera angle can look completely different to an official examining the lie, the ball, the player's actions, and whether the conditions were actually improved. That's why these incidents are so difficult. But it also explains why they're so incredibly popular online. Because golf fans don't just watch the shots anymore. They watch the rules. They watch the reactions, and they watch every single controversial moment. Wyndham Clark walked away from Bellerive as the BMW Championship winner, but now His victory is being discussed alongside another player's controversial two-shot penalty. And that raises a fascinating question. Was this simply two completely different rules situations, or does professional golf need to do a better job explaining these decisions to fans? Let me know what you think. Was Wyndham Clark completely within the rules, or does the footage deserve more scrutiny? Drop your opinion in the comments. And if you enjoy breaking golf stories, controversies, and the moments the PGA Tour doesn't want you to miss, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because the next controversial ruling could be only one swing away.